right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Hoping you all enjoyed your little break there. We've got it again. We are closing into the end of week 1 of NMG League. We've got it. What is it? Eastern Palace Division race at the moment? Telethar versus Faker Jr. Joined on comms by Malmo and PH. Did you even leave, or are you just here the whole time? PH? Well, I assume PH is here, so Malmo, I'm going to hand it over to you and take it away.
Alright, welcome to the race between Telethar and Faker Jr. This is an NMG vanilla preset, so it's kind of like a weird randomizer hybrid of NMG, but it's really just NMG, but with randomizer rule set and some nice quality of life fixes. However, having randomizer rule set does change the route, and you might see people choose different routes because we haven't actually had this around long enough to know what's optimal, and even if we did, some people find more comfort in the other routes.
We should be getting started here in just a moment. Super excited. This is going to be an awesome race between Telethar and Faker Jr. The NMG League Season 4. We are doing the vanilla preset. So this has some various rando quality of life improvements. I'm super pumped to be here today. Also with me, Super Malmo World. How's it going?
Going well. Looks like we've kicked it off. One thing you'll notice, no uncle text. Okay, one uncle text. It's quick. There's no mashing. You just hop right out of bed. It's not like normally where you like lie in bed for like 30 minutes and snooze your alarm and mash buttons until finally 30 seconds you muster up the energy to get out of bed. In this one, you actually hop right out, just like you have realized that your alarm went off late and you're late for work. Uncle, of course, does give the sword and shield, just like in normal NMG. Yeah, it looks like we're trying to get PH back on. He's having a bit of a Discord issues. Hey, you're here. Okay.
I don't know what happened. It's too something. It's definitely something on my end. I'm stupid. Anyway, super pumped. Hello.
Yeah. I was just talking about how they're waking up in the morning and, you know, instead of snoozing the alarm for 30 seconds, they actually hop right out of bed. As you can see, yes, we're super pumped to do the escape. Are you pumped to do the escape, PH?
Mama, I am so pumped. There is nothing I am more pumped about than escape. This is by far the best part of this game. Especially. So one thing that I was going to say, the one thing that I think is really funny. So Faker is one of the, and we saw it last race with Structural Mike, one of the folks who actually uses a non-link sprite, which is fairly uncommon for people who do like the NMG stuff for NMG runs specifically. So get a chance to hang out with Yoshi here, which is always nice.
Yeah, Faker and Telethar are both rando mains. One of the nice things about this version of the NMG League is that it has attracted a few more rando players who would have otherwise been put off by the lack of quality of life fixes, like the text boxes and the crystal cutscenes that you deal with in NMG. It's just a little bit faster. I mean, it's about of a 10-minute faster run than NMG at most skill levels. You can expect your NMG time to be about 10 minutes slower than your randomizer vanilla preset NMG time. This is given the rule set differences. Now, one thing that is the same is we are still not allowing save and quit, because if we did, it would be maybe a little bit too different. Save and quit does introduce some unique challenges of having not full health going into dungeons, and takes away a lot of the overworld that we like to see in NMG. So we've left in the rule that you can't save and quit.
Kind of joke, but kind of not a joke, that save and quit is actually the true largest major glitch.
It is, I mean, it's like a wrong warp, right? You're not really supposed to just hop across the world like that.
True. Link blinks and all of a sudden he's back in his bed. So the actual sequence here is pretty much the same, excepting, as you said, like we have no text boxes. We do get quick swap, which can, especially as we go later into the run, it starts to change things. Like right now, it doesn't really do anything because the only thing we have is the boomerang.
Yeah, Faker Jr. is still going for the quick swaps, probably just a fidget. Like Telethar, quick swapping to make that mantle go a little bit faster. It's like pumping, but it doesn't do anything.
I think they're mostly quick swapping just because they both intuited that I was talking about how they had nothing else.
Yeah, they're giving us something to talk about, right? We refuse to talk about pumping, so we will talk about quick swapping instead.
That's right. Both actually having pretty good escapes here. No real nasty.
No major hitches. Pumping is going well. Nice. Kira RNG is not seeded, so Faker Jr. does get a little bit luckier with, I don't know, it's like the Arizona Kira going towards you.
Yeah, exactly. That's based on, we call when the rat goes all the way up and to the left, which is the worst RNG. That's the Seattle Key Rat.
Subtle difference in this room with the two levers is in NMG you have to hold right out of the door to skip a text box. In vanilla preset you do not have to do that, and you can diagonal. Diagonal movement is pretty optimal compared to walking, even often compared to dashing and hookshotting in a lot of places. You might see a little bit more hookshot use in vanilla preset because you can quick swap to it. Of course we don't have that yet, but be aware that hookshot is not always going to save time compared to diagonal movement. It's a common misconception that you should just be zipping everywhere with a hookshot, but diagonal movement is faster than the hookshot if you were cardinaling to avoid diagonal movement, if that makes sense.
Basically, the diagonals are actually really fast because when you cardinal, your average walking speed is 1.5 pixels, right? Because you switch between 2 and 1. And when you diagonal, it's just 1 and 1, right? So you're going 1 like in the diagonal direction. So if you're going like up and to the right, you go 1 pixel up and 1 pixel to the right the whole time. And
hookshot is 2, but it's only in one direction. So you are losing time over just diagonaling, cutting the corner. Now here, this is a lot of diagonal movement, a lot of pumping on these stairs to avoid that blue guard. And then Eastern is the pumping dungeon, so we'll be seeing a lot more of that left and right mashing. There's getting as many diagonals as you can into your walk to move faster going up and left, but you don't pump going right and down because that would actually slow you down.
That's your biting, in which case you do it anyway just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Are you proud of me for waiting till Eastern to actually explain what pumping is?
I am so proud. I'm surprised we even talked. No, I'm not.
You've seen NMG League races before. There's very little to talk about besides movement in the first two dungeons, because the first two dungeons are all about movement. The difference maker is usually going to be how efficiently do you go from room to room. You don't see these differences during the room, but over time they do add up. And they continue to add up throughout the run.
If you compare, to your point, right? Like if you were to watch a single room between, an elite runner and someone who's very good but still not at that same level, like each room, you wouldn't really go like, oh yeah, that's like way faster. And then you get to the end of the dungeon, and it's like, wow, the elite runner did this in like 8 or 10 seconds faster. How did that happen?
Yeah, and rando players often go to the end of a race and be like, I feel like I routed that perfectly. How did I lose by 2 minutes? And, you know, they're racing somebody who's been playing for 5 years. And you can look and say, okay, well, I did Swamp, but they did Eastern. And it turns out the difference is just that every room they were saving time over you. And you couldn't see it except when it added up. You ever see that puzzle of the chocolate bar that gets cut up and rearranged into a new chocolate bar, but there's a piece left over? But they look like the same chocolate bar. It's actually a slightly smaller chocolate bar. That's basically what's going on here.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good analogy. But yeah, and it's small things like, are you like going into like a stair or like a door cleanly? Because like those nudges, or like, are you, when you're carrying a pot, like do you throw it immediately or do you take like 2 steps with it? Like, so watch the anti-fairies here. So they were basically completely on top of each other when Faker left the room. And you can see they hadn't quite finished touching when Telethar left the room. So Telethar actually had like a slightly faster room so it's usually not that easy to see. That one's kind of fun because you can kind of watch the anti-fairy position to get a sense.
It is I'm very self-conscious about that room because my anti-fairies are always divorced. I've never been able to get it fast enough to not touch, let alone like touch and not become untouched again.
Oh man! See, I always joke when I fail it. Like the now Kith. Oh, yeah. I went for
the pinkest strat, right? And was that the Yuzu? Missed one arrow down, but missed.
No, I think Yuzu is like one extra one to the left, maybe.
Either way, it didn't go well. The pinkest strat doesn't. I'm told it doesn't actually save that much time, but it is. If you're good, you don't lose time as often doing that strat. It's a little more consistent for the top level runners who use it, but you can also fail it and lose more time than you would have saved. Okay, you can tell when people walk towards Sahasrara, if they walk and talk directly to him, to his face, like a, normal person, they're not getting the Saha rupees. But you can see Telethar went up and whispered into his ear, whispering that I'm going to steal your money and your bombs in the back. It's a little better, I think, to do this in the vanilla preset because you don't get the text box for the bombs. There's also, I don't know if this is like true, but I would find tree rupees harder in randomizer preset because there's a little bit of lag you get from the item that can mess up your movement enough to get hit. By the item, I mean the mushroom.
Right. Yeah, the mushroom definitely causes extra lag in the rando ROM.
Yeah, and it's not just like a little slowdown. There's a stutter. The screen stops for a few frames while the item loads in because it has to run randomizer item code instead of just being a mushroom like it is in vanilla. Oh.
Right.
Faker Jr. is losing tons of time on the spin speed. I appreciate the persistence. The second time it failed because he was actually facing the side of the stairs and couldn't get spin speed because he couldn't actually dash while touching a wall.
Mm-hmm. Try, very nice. A map. Well, when you play rando, you want to make sure what the pendants and the crystals are. It's kind of understandable.
Yeah, it turns out we're going to Pendant Desert. I mean, you know what? We're already here. We might as well do it. We might find something important, like a heart container on the boss.
I mean, imagine if the glove was in desert and we could finish it, though. That would be pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a pendant. You go in here hoping that you don't find the glove because then you don't want to have to think about doing the boss. But if you do find a glove and there's an item on the boss, you should probably just do it, just in case it's a ped seed.
It might be. I couldn't rule it out. So just because it was mentioned, it was really interesting because there was a conversation in the last run. So the I think with like fully optimal movement, according to Foxlisk, who I hate to admit but probably knows, the Saha Rupees loses about 4 seconds in vanilla, right? But like you said, we get a different text box. There's also the ability to do a bomb climb in Hera, which saves a little bit of time. So the actual cost, and then like you said, right, you don't have to potentially risk having an error with the mushroom. So the cost is pretty small to get the Saha Rupees and the bombs there. I will say the flip side is it means different muscle memory, which is actually impossible.
Yeah, that's fine if you're a random main like Faker Jr. and Telethar, though. I don't actually know how much NMG they have done. Telethar has been in the community for quite a while, the rando community. Faker Jr. is pretty recent. I think he was in the Mentor tournament last year for randomizer. So, pretty cool to see him really working on his skills. It's hard to even know who is like new and who's not new anymore these days. So Junior apparently
Faker Junior is named.
Sorry, I'm being told in chat that Junior was actually NMG before Rando. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, I think to your point, both of them, they certainly done NMG, but it's not like I think something that they're currently grinding a lot right now, at least that I've seen. So it's definitely, there's some, muscle memory and rust that comes with just not playing it, or in Telethar's case, probably a less general familiarity.
The rare up block from Faker Jr.
Nice RNG for Telethar.
These nobly torches. Those torches are impossible.
Yeah, work.
I don't understand the lamp.
Yeah, the
quote hitbox. It's a mystery to me. Sometimes you just set an entire fire, enough to burn down all of California, and the torch still doesn't light. Don't understand it. So they're going to get the same first phase of Landmo, but every other phase will be different. And because this is a freshly rolled seed, they don't know what it's going to be. So it's not like qualifiers where they optimize for 2 cycles. This is just as hard as it is in NMG.
Oh, I think Faker miscounted there. I think he thought he had. He only needed a slash. Alrighty. Well, we have survived Landmo, and we are moving on. That fight is the worst. I suck at it so much. It's actually really fun if you do it a lot, but it's really hard.
Faker taking no chances with that. Oh, Telethar got a little bit off grid for the fake flipper, so he's going to go for the backup rando strat. I guess one benefit of this is at least if you get hit here, you don't soft lock like this. So this is fine. Because Telethar actually fake flippered from the wrong side, that hit didn't soft lock him. So, blessing in disguise. In fact, if you're really worried about this fake flipper, you can just do that on purpose until you get comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's this has been a little bit of a, unfortunately for Telethar, it's gotten a little Because he actually, I think, had caught up and had, because he was only very slightly, although, well.
Oh, dead rock, no. Yeah, the correct thing to do with that dead rock is at least try to dash past it. Sometimes it might look like you're blocked, but if you dash facing the right direction, you can get past. Unfortunately, Faker tried every angle and wasn't able to get it.
Yeah.
So got thoroughly dead rocked. He's climbing with 3 hearts. This is where Telethar might take out the bomb to make this stair climb a little faster. And, you know, we'll see. Maybe not.
He's menued the bombs here, so...
There we go. So this is where you get the time back. You get a little bit faster climb using this spin speed bomb. Yeah, we have questions in chat about what happens if you get the fake flipper soft lock. In an NMG attempt, if you are going to submit it to the leaderboard, you are not allowed to do anything about it. You have to reset. But in a race, because we don't want people resetting in a race, because that's no fun, we do allow save and quit in that exact instance, just to allow the race to continue. You still lost a lot of time, so it's not like you're home free. It looks like Faker Jr. is setting up for the boomerang coffee break, or just no, this is just the spot he stands in. You could do a coffee break. Now Telethar might take out the bow or the bomb to set up a coffee break here, which is not something you normally do in NMG because that would require a menu.
Yeah. And he's got the extra bombs here too, so... Yeah, Faker's. I've seen other people do that, kind of set up for like a clean dash out. The Beatles room there for Faker Jr. Oops.
What is that boomerang strat? That's cool. So I guess in no preset you can get a free, or mostly free, maybe slightly faster safety switch, which is probably wise for when you're on 2 hearts coming out of Moon Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the really cool thing about the vanilla preset, is that it's just different enough that there are some like material things that people change that have real benefit. And like watching really talented runners like optimize and modify the standard approaches in, you know, like really cool ways. Oh, that is really bad RNG. Ooh. That sucks.
That is unfortunate. But it looks like, wow, Faker Jr. just scraping by on this Moldorm fight. So, you know, just because one player dies doesn't mean the race is over. This is still very early into the race, and this isn't even... Well, okay, you could say this is the hardest split. This is the split where I see the most resets when people are grinding NMG, but that might just be because you reset in Hera so often you don't even get to the others.
Yeah, Hera is brutal. Moldorm is... Even the best runners will still have issues with Moldorm, or... Because there's also certain things like, you know, you can just have like a really bad climb, and there's just so many ways for this to go really sideways. Oh, jeez.
Right. Pay attention to Faker as he goes into this screen, and watch for that little stutter that I was talking about earlier. It'll happen around here when he gets to the log. There it is. I often, when I'm doing this in randomizer, I often like bonk the log because of it. It's very annoying. And this is coming from a rando main. You just never get used to it. But God help you if you're an NMG main and you're trying to run this and get tree rupees.
Oh yeah, the rando lag. It is definitely something that, you know, you see people like, oh, I feel all this lag, and I'm kind of like, I'm not cool enough to notice.
Yeah, you don't necessarily notice it, even at like not, you know, the high muscle memory level that you might be if you're an NMG main, but like it still messes you up. And you might be blaming yourself. You're like, oh, why am I messing up Helmasaur all of a sudden? Well, it's not the Helmasaur fight you're used to, and the timing is different, just enough to make you miss hits. There's a little stutter. Right. You can see Telethar nudging the log there because he was holding the direction long enough to not nudge, but then the game just stopped for a few frames for the mushroom.
Right.
So annoying.
Speaking of the mushroom, Faker picked it up.
Faker picked it up. All right. Yeah, it's a little bit faster to fake powder in preset because in vanilla, like true vanilla, you get a text box and you try to use magic and you can't. It says, "Oh, watch your magic meter."
Right.
But in vanilla preset, you don't get that text box. Telethar not getting the mushroom.
Get it the second time. Do not get it on the first pass through because it will respawn.
Oh, it will respawn? Oh, I was thinking you could collect it on the first pass through just to avoid the lag on the way back, but that's just mean.
No, it's better to get it on the second.
Now wait a minute. It doesn't respawn. Not in vanilla. This is just a randomizer item. That would be interesting if it did.
No, you're right.
You could turn in the mushroom and still fake powder.
You are completely correct.
I'm not sure if it gets rid of the lag, though. There might still be a randomizer code running if the item's collected. But I'd like to think it does.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know. First room.
It's a really nice key room for Faker Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I can really see the NMG experience. Already quick stopping to Boomerang for the Din Din. Very nice. Yeah, just a textbook Castle Tower for Faker Jr.
This is really clean.
Yeah, on-grid dashes in this room.
Oop.
Wow, what is that guard doing?
Okay.
What was Faker supposed to do there? I'm asking you as an NMG runner.
I think what it looked like, and this is, it looked like he was going to try and cancel the dash to reduce the lag, but then I think he kind of got caught on the stairs because I think he could have avoided that with a little bit, like getting up a little more cleanly.
I see. So it's a classic, lose 10 seconds to save 10 frames situation. Telethar, meanwhile, using the boomerang to kill bats in Red Alert is another one of those cool rando-specific strats. The boomerang does kill bats.
Yeah.
But you just don't use it in NMG because you're using the arrow in that room, and you don't want to use a menu just to kill bats. You don't even need to kill the bats, but it does get them out of the way.
And he got he also had like the really nice fast strat using the bow on the guards afterwards with the blocking one of the spears with the shield and then turning. It looks really cool.
Yeah, that was a perfect Red Alert room for Telethar.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 0 blue balls. We don't even have to count. It's the best part of vanilla preset. It's no blue balls. There's no blue balls in Aga 2 either. Yeah. So you don't even get to blame Aga when you get a 4 cycle.
4 cycle? If only. Maybe 6. Both runners also on good arrow counts here going into pod, which is nice.
Ooh, okay. Faker Jr. wisely not bonking that tree. Cancel the dash. Managed to not get hit by the bird as well. I was afraid of that. And I think if he had bonked the tree, he might have gotten hit by the bird.
Yeah, probably with where he was. There is a really cursed, more optimal route that I don't think either of our runners are going to take. That involves hovering to pick up some keys instead of so that you don't have to basically you don't have to go into the dark maze. And it's truly horrendous.
It is.
So
I'm wondering if anybody will try it. It's pretty cursed. It's not just a hover, it's a rail clip hover, so it's pixel perfect in 2 directions.
Yeah. I mentioned it only because I could imagine, just knowing him, I could imagine Telethar maybe going for it. Because I think he was actually one of the people who helped kind of like identify. Ooh, we just got 1.0. That sucks.
Yeah, this may be vanilla preset, but it's still 1.0. You can still get 1.0'd.
Yeah. Alright, let's see Faker's hammering them.
No.
Oops.
Okay, so Faker Jr. had the pixel, but like didn't turn left or didn't turn right. Like got just like a 0 frame press. So ended up putting the bomb down instead of to the left, which is not a recoverable situation that I can think of. Like maybe you can put a second bomb to the left or the right, but that first bomb is going to go off first. So you'd have to pick it up and throw it, and by then you probably have just lost your position. So Telethar not going for the hover strat, understandable.
He kind of like did that, like he turned to the right. I think he was just trying to like move to buffer his dash or something, but for a half second he turned to the right and started dashing. I was like, is he actually going to do this?
Maybe he's just giving it an acknowledgement, like, yes, I know about this. I helped workshop it according to chat, but not today.
Right. To the back here.
Okay, so I'm not actually sure if it's optimal to get the hearts here. I've never gotten a clear answer on this. You get the hearts in NMG so you can beam the switch, but in vanilla preset you can boom the switch for free. It's just a little bit of extra movement.
I still go for it because I'm a big baby, but
yeah, it's safer for sure. You get health, which is not nothing. I think Telethar lost the health in Mimics rather than didn't get the health in the first place.
Yeah, he lost. He actually did pick up the heart and then he got hit.
Which, you know, if he didn't pick up the hearts, he would have been down more hearts from getting hit in Mimics and had a dangerous Helmosaur fight.
Helma is never dangerous. This is a pretty friendly second pattern. It's not too bad here. Little side-to-side movement, which is not ideal though, but not super dangerous.
Okay, so here's the 5-heart Helmosaur fight. Telethar going for spin speed strats, but misses the spin speed. Uses speed to test, which is really good. You don't want to miss spin speed and not know you've missed it and then get hit. There we go. Trying 3 times to get spin speed implies that he's probably going to go for hammer hits here. Yeah, there we go. Really nicely done phase 2.
Whew. I was a little worried that Faker was too high on that the dash past the bird there, but he was good.
One thing about vanilla preset is you don't get the crystal cutscenes, but the crystal cutscenes are, for some people, a breather. Even though you're matching, you can at least mentally unwind for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on the cutscene. But in vanilla preset, you don't get that, and it's just go, go, go all the time. But that can be almost like harder than having that chance to reset a little bit. Especially if you're in a split that went wrong.
Yeah, no, I think it's that, like, also, like, I miss my pause buffers. Like, they were a nice little mini vacation. That is such a good moment on the sprite on Faker's side.
What is going on here? Is that his tongue?
Yeah, I think he was going for the dash, and I guess
he's really going for the dash. I don't know if that's worth it, but it's sort of cool.
Nice. That's what that was.
Okay, this spin speed that Telethar went for is pretty much mandatory because it's the only way you can outrun the red guard.
Yeah, we like to joke that's Usain Bolt, the fastest guard in Hyrule.
Telethar getting bopped in Three Musketeers, that's fine. You don't need beams and thieves for any reason. Thieves is one of the dungeons where losing health doesn't really matter unless it's your last heart.
Then it matters a whole lot.
Yeah, but there's no like mandatory damage boosts like there are in Meyer. There's no places where you're using beams. Everything in here does half a heart to 2 hearts. So as long as you're 3 or more, you're not going to be in 1 hit from anything either.
Really the worst enemies in here are the crickets upstairs.
I would argue that the worst enemies are actually these Gibos in Hellway because
That's fair.
they can cause you to lose more than 2 hearts in this room, even if they themselves don't damage you for 2. But that cricket,
honestly,
ooh,
that's
yeah. Okay, Faker Jr.'s on 4 hearts now. That's still not 1 hit KO, so you can see how much abuse you can take in this dungeon before it becomes worrisome.
I like that little 3 swing buffer there. That's nice.
Okay,
Did he get it?
Telethar.
Oh.
Telethar had God Pixel twice and got robbed both times.
That
Hate to
is
see it.
so mean. That was a.
And the first
he
one
missed
was
it in
like
the-
earned the God Pixel by manually adjusting to it too, and still got
Yeah.
scammed out of it.
To your point about the Gibos. That's too bad.
Oh, that was terrifying. Faker bonking backwards almost into the Zazak was pretty scary.
Yeah, that would have put him on one-hit KO.
Yeah, it looks like he decided to get a heart to get to just like one extra hit from blind. Right now, before that he could only take one hit from blind, but now he can take two.
Yeah, that definitely felt like oh geez, look at how close that was. I'm going to take a little more safety.
Yeah, it's like how you every time you almost get into a car crash or something, you just start going 5 miles an hour slower for the next week.
Right.
Wow, Telethar getting zapped and not actually falling. It's pretty good. No walking on air, just going.
Do not do that dash if you walk into the room first. It's not worth if you miss the first frame.
Wait, what dash?
So, entering blind, it's actually early in the room. It's just faster to just walk up.
Oh, you mean in blind's room? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I always just walk.
Like you walk up and then dash. It's like it's not a huge thing. It's just funny because I see I feel like I see a ton of people do it after walking into the room, and it's like if you don't get the dash early, it's almost always slower.
I've seen people try to go for
really
like
minimal.
the LST blind with dashing. It's harder. Just walk. You're not saving that much time.
Right.
But yeah, that's part of that clean movement thing. Is one of the hard things is dashing early when you enter a room, because the game won't accept your inputs until you're out of door state, or at least until certain things until you're out of door state. For dashing, it's until you're I don't know, depends on the door. Some doors you walk in and there are shutter doors in the room that close, and you hear that ka-thunk, and only until you hear that can you actually dash. And then there are other doors where there are no shutter doors in the super tile, so the timing is different, and that makes it nearly impossible to correctly time a dash start without being really good.
So what you're saying is the game is difficult.
The game is difficult in subtle ways that you won't notice until you're racing somebody who's like 2 minutes better than you at NMG.
Right. Also, I'm very, very upset. So Telethar at least went for fence dash, even though he didn't get it. Faker Jr. did not go for fence dash, so I'm mauling over here right now. Very disappointed. So Faker actually doing the mirror strat there, which I think Yarok was the one who kind of labbed it out. And it's pretty close to even with falling in the pit and then taking the iframes, which is pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, which one you go for is going to depend on whether you trust yourself to have the muscle memory to actually slash the Gibdo coming out of the room. if you're really used to falling in the pit and you're used to just holding right out of that door, you should probably just continue falling in the pit. But if you're a random main, you're probably not doing that because random mains are usually doing other chests in here. They're not necessarily falling in the pit because it's not optimal in rando. So you're probably used to having to actually slash the ropa. Faker
Right,
Jr.
it's
going
really
into...
nice.
Go ahead.
I was just saying it's good for if you're on low health.
Yeah, but again, you have to know to slash the ropa, because if you don't, you will be on even lower health than you would have from falling. The ropa does 2 hearts, the fall does 1. Alright, Faker Jr. gets a nice double slash, but it's not really the best RNG from Mothula, so it has to take it slow. Nice use of the fire rod to get a final hit in.
And the poke, because he killed with 1 fire rod hit, so I think one of his, because I was a little surprised he hadn't killed, but I think one of them only counted for a poke instead of a dash poke.
Telethar having a slightly better mummy key room. Entering on 6 hearts, which is basically the same thing as 5 hearts. I guess you can both get the same Moth RNG, it looks like. But once the fight has been going for a little bit, the RNG rerolls to be unique. So Telethar having, I don't know if that's like a slower fight, maybe about the same speed, not taking any damage. They're coming out pretty even. The main difference still being that Moldorm death that Telethar took in Hera.
Telthar's actually done, because I think he's clawed back a little bit of time here, considering the death. Because that's, I mean, the Moldorm death is pretty punitive. I think he's picked up maybe, I want to say like 15 seconds.
Faker Jr. failed hammer jump, so that would account for a good portion of it.
Yeah, for sure. So they are both getting ether now, but... Oh, this is interesting. Faker is getting the powder.
This makes me wonder if Faker is doing a route that does Mire early. Because Mire is a big choke point for getting... Like, if you're going to get silver arrows, for example. I think if you're getting silvers, you're probably not getting tempered, but... any route that does Mire earlier is going to have a more dangerous Vitreous fight. So having powder, yeah, look, Faker's going to Mire now. So this is why the powder.
I mean, I feel like it's unless you use it multiple times, it's probably still quicker to fake powder. Well, maybe you have to use all your magic, but in Mire you use pretty much all your magic. So I don't know.
Yeah, it might just be that Faker intends to use it more, or because it's a race, that there might be...
Yeah. Totally, could be a
safety.
comfort thing. So we are going to get some divergence here, though, because we can see Telethar is heading up to get his Quake and Flippers, and is therefore probably going to be doing the Swamp First route.
So Mire first. What's the reason we do Mire first? Is it because you can do Cane Diver down in Swamp?
And this is where it's like there's been, I think, a lot of people talking about it. It is, on average, I believe, considered very slightly faster than Swamp First. And there are reasons like Cane Diver Down is, I think, generally a little bit more consistent and easier, and I prefer it over Bomb Diver Down when I have the choice by quite a lot. I also like Mire First because I think it's fun to force practice it, but like in a race setting, it can be very spooky. No pun intended.
A little less spooky when you have powder, though. So if you're already getting powder for another reason, like for Turtle Rock and Cannon, then might as well bring it to Maya early. Or if you're just taking the mushroom because you want to get rid of the lag.
Yeah. But it will be kind of fun. So we're going to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. This is a swamp for Telethar.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us. Third...
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say there is a third route that is even slower than what Telethar is doing, but I think it's kind of fun where you set up the water walk from the Ice Rod Cave to Zora. And you use that to... It's slightly slower because the idea there is that you actually have to trip up there twice because you basically skip getting the quake the first time, but also it's kind of funny.
Switches are impossible.
Yeah.
7 hearts isn't actually that bad for Viddy. Like, it's a normal amount, right?
Yeah, you usually expect to lose 3 hearts on the. I think Faker took 1 extra heart because usually you use 3 hearts on the deboost on spikes. If everything goes well, you get 1 back from the.
6 hearts is a little spooky.
Yeah,
when you're feeling for a Spark Gamble.
It is tight. It's very easy to because losing 2 hearts here is not hard. And now you're like, well, I have to do this fight right.
Yeah, so the deal with Viddy, though, is if you fail, you're probably taking 4 hearts from the eye, so having, like, the difference between 6, 7, and 8 is not really existent, unless you're just taking extra slime. But usually you're failing it by taking an eye hit early on. Now, the difference between 5 and 6 is massive. That is, now you can't take the comfort slime. Like, you can see, like, Faker just swimming in the slime there for those slashes. You wouldn't be able to do that on the 5 heart fight.
Right. That was actually also really smart. So a lot of the time, sort of the instinct is to do arrows to clean up the eyes, but because there were still 4 there, and because he had all the extra health from doing the powder, he was able to keep deboosting and hit all of them multiple times in one go, which allowed him to save the 0 cycle, which was really nice.
And save the arrows for later on.
Yeah. All right. Headed to ice for Faker while Telethar is continuing his way through swamp. Ooh! So that was Faker got the Moblin RNG where you actually, it's one of my favorite things when people do it right, is you actually have to start your dash facing left so you block the spear with your shield, and then you dash turn to the right. I just think it looks really cool. Well, Faker got the heart drop, which is nice. We do want to be at full health at the start of ice, if we can. Oops. Forgot to quick swap off the bow.
Yeah, there are worse things to be on. Yeah, the nice thing about the water walk is that you don't have to actually do this screen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's slower, but it's also slower only if everything in here goes right. Like you actually could save because it's very easy to kind of like lock yourself into jumping into the water like 3 or 4 times because of the inputs that you do and like where you're standing. It's like sneaky tricky. All right, so we're going to get a bomb diver down here from Telethar. Very nice.
So if
All right,
Faker
so let's see,
Jr.
do we-
is doing ice before swamp, is that because of silvers? What's the reasoning for this?
It's the warp, so it's the same reason why we do ice right before swamp after we get the flippers in vanilla. Is
Oh no!
we want oh my gosh.
Argus is I would say it's an easy boss to forget that it's dangerous. But Argus does do 2 hearts of damage, and usually I see this happen to people who are going for the 0 cycle. Because it is a little bit more dangerous if you get RNG where Argus is charging into you, or you miss some hooks, or you're trying to save it. It's easy to just tank a bunch of hits and then suddenly find yourself in danger.
Telethar was like that. Well, I think he entered with only like 1 or 2 hearts gone, I want to say. So he was still pretty healthy when he first entered the room, but I think you're right. I think it was... he took like 2 hits right at the start of the fight, trying to save the 0 cycle.
Yeah, I very rarely see people die to Argus who are not going for the 0 cycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why, like, you don't really think of it as a dangerous fight, because the newer players who are usually dying to bosses are not dying to Argus. They're dying to other bosses, and the people who are dying to Argus are the really experienced players. Now, Faker Jr.'s route through ice gets the big key. There is a route that doesn't get the big key.
The big key route is faster. It is a little tighter on magic. You basically have to be really careful because since we need to use 2 uses of Samaria, you have no extra give.
Yeah, what that means is that you can't use the fire rod in ice 2. And you can't lose beams. If you're doing something before ice that you might lose beams for, you can't lose beams. And if you're failing diver down, you need to keep using the same block. You can't make a new one. If you do find yourself short on magic, your really only good option is to either find an extra key and open the door before Argus or before Cold Stare, or kill a bunch of Baris and get the variety pack drop. Or get
I think
beams.
the best thing in that...
Yeah, that too.
Because you can go 1 door to the right, the big, like, the room with all the pots in ice, and you can grab a key under the pot there.
Yeah, but you have to go and
slow.
get a key. Yeah, so that's the key you have to get. Or you have to get beams, keep your beams, however that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do dupes.
Like Mandian was talking about in chat here, it's like Faker had the powder, so if he was in that situation, he could have powdered the MG Fairy and then been duped.
Oh yeah, very true. And if you're there after hookshot, you can also avoid damage in the spike room. Faker couldn't because he didn't have hookshot. But also Faker wasn't low on magic, so it was fine. It's all hypothetical.
Yeah, I got a little worried. So Faker did get a little bit lucky. He went for 6 slash instead of one of the poke strats, and then he got knocked out. But all of the puffs stayed together, so he was able to still finish the fight pretty much immediately. That can get really awkward because if they split up right after you get hit, it can be very, very challenging because they're all kind of around you, and it can be that cold stare can get really, really squirrely really fast.
Yeah, 6 slash is it's a good strat when it works, but it's less consistent than the poke dash versions because of the tendency for cold stare's RNG to mess you up. Slashes, cold stare doesn't really have time to give you bad RNG.
Yeah. It is a good strat to practice, though, especially, again, if you're a rando player, because there's no guarantee in rando that you'll have boots against Cold Stare, like we do in NMG. So now Telethar making his way through Mire here. A little bit less clench. Has the extra health here. He actually his refight against Argus, he didn't go for the zero cycle, but he still got hit a couple of times. So he actually finished it on 1 heart.
Yeah, that was a little scary. Sometimes if you are trying to be safe, that can also be dangerous. Because you're doing something that you don't have muscle memory for. I think you're having a little bit of trouble in this room.
Yeah. I'm going to quote both Fox as well as a number of other players who are much better than I am. Link to the Past is a strange game. Going faster is safer. Like, the faster you go, the less RNG can factor stuff in, right? So if you do things quickly, you're often actually in better position. It's just, if you mess them up, you can get really, really screwed. That's not great for Telethar. It's not a huge problem, missing one of the spooky shots. The last one is not a huge time loss.
Well, I wonder if that was a miss spooky or if he used the boomerang somewhere in the dungeon and broke spooky. That seems to be happening a lot in the vanilla preset.
He got it on second try.
Oh.
He missed spike on his first shot.
So what happened to the spooky 2?
I'm not totally sure. I thought he might have been a little too high there, but I couldn't tell.
Okay. Now this is the 6 heart Vitreous fight, which, if it goes well, should be perfectly fine. But he won't be able to go for those slashes that Telethar went for, and instead has to pull out the arrows and lose the 0 cycle. It also means that you have to do it right. It is possible to do it on 5 hearts, but that means that you have to spend minimal time in the goo. You have to do it nearly perfectly. With the 6 heart, you can linger a little bit longer and be okay, and that makes it a lot safer.
5 heart Vidi is very, very scary.
So Telethar coming up on ice, I'm sure he won't actually do this, but I always like to see when people do this. You can get blue mail in Ice Palace if you have the hook shot going into ice and the cane. And it doesn't even lose that much time. The problem is by the time you have hook shot and cane, you don't really need it. You're just getting it for fun. Maybe a little bit of safety in TR.
And he needed it. Mike got it, and then he was down to 5, leaving roller room with blue mail.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
I like blue mail. I think it looks good, and it's nice to have in Turtle Rock and in GT. The run where you get blue mail, usually you're doing ice last, so it's actually not worth it. But in this, you're not quite doing it last. And Turtle Rock is a little more dangerous in NMG than it is in all dungeons, so I'm for it. I think you should get blue mail. It does mean that you had to go for the big key route where the magic is tighter.
Yeah, but it's technically faster anyway to do this route, so the cost is not, like you said, it's really not huge.
Telethar getting that key for safety, I think. Normally that would be the key you get, right? Or is that required?
That key is required.
Oh, okay.
This is a normal big key route.
Okay.
He's skipping blue mail though. Sad.
Right, and I'm in all dungeons brain suddenly and forgetting that the switch isn't hit.
Right. Also, Faker got deadrocked in the same spot again.
Yeah, oh, entering TR and 4 hearts missing is such a mood.
Interesting.
Alright,
so
not bad.
Telethar went for the dupe.
Yeah, the dupe is kind of cool. It gives you some fire rod shots for phase 2 if it goes out of hand. The challenge of it is, besides getting the dupes, it messes up your timing if you're used to just walking up and doing fire rods.
Positioning. I feel like when I do it, it's the timing for, like you say, right? The timing for the spin feels very awkward.
The success of Cold Stir really does ride on phase 1. If phase 2 goes wrong, it's probably because of phase 1.
Right, so we are in TR here with Faker Jr. and Telethar heading up to the mountain.
Telethar having better dead rocks. Oh, Faker Jr. having a little bit of trouble in the roller room.
I would probably just mirror at this point. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually cost nearly as in Rando. It still loses time, but it's less.
Does
Like,
it
at
lose
this
more
point, like, if you're
time than
going-
getting that heart that Faker Jr. got in the Requiem magic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think if you're getting that heart in vanilla preset, you should just be mirroring out.
Yeah, because you'll actually end up getting more, right? Like, because then you don't have to deboost, so you're saving 3 hearts. Oh, jeez. Chomp's best room in the game.
I like that corner, standing on the corner to be closer to the chest, but still get iframes. I'm not sure why he bailed on it. It looked like it was good. Maybe he just didn't trust that he had the iframes and didn't want to walk straight into a chomp.
Yeah. Imagine not wanting to walk straight into a chomp. See, this is where Blue Mail would have helped.
Yeah. No, you're right. Blue mail's great. Everyone who has hookshot and cane and ice should get blue mail. Faker Jr. does have the powder though, so it's...
Yeah.
And the fairy.
And
Didn't even need...
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, because I totally get why he did it, though, because you never know. And
Yeah, you could die in that room. But I agree with you. I'm guessing that what you were going to say is that he should have seen if he got the fairy first, and then gotten the fairies on the way out, if he didn't.
like, in that situation, I think maybe. But at the same time, again, like, this is... A death in a race setting like that is really, right, like, that would be bad. Like, really unfortunate, especially if you died before you got the big key and you had to come all the way back and go through that room again. It would be really slow. So
Yeah, it's weird because it's a race that Faker is ahead in by a lot. So you would think that, you go for the safer strats, but Faker is actually on a small pace going into Turtle Rock.
yeah.
So maybe it would be good to take those little time saves just for your own run. I haven't talked about their splits yet. We can see their splits. Faker Jr. has minus 1.3 out of Swamp. Wait, didn't Faker Jr. do Ice after Swamp?
Yes.
Okay, the splits are not showing that. But regardless, the pace is there.
Okay. Ooh. Alright, well, Telethar had a really nice clean... Oh, that was actually a really sick dodge of the mini helmet there. Nice job.
Yeah, it was a good RNG reaction. You can't always get the dash. Sometimes the Helmosaur aggroes too quickly and doesn't get caught in the ledge. Telethar also reacting to the Pokey, shooting a fireball at him, which did catch fire, but they don't always catch fire. So he did a little preemptive slash there to make sure that it didn't hit him. Also using the fire on Pokies too, which is a thing you can do in Randomizer if you have the magic for it.
Yeah, which a lot of the time you do, especially considering there's a full magic refill right before Try Next, which is really nice.
Oh, you're right. In chat, the Faker Jr. did do ice before Swamp. It was Telethar that did ice last. It could have had blue mail. Faker Jr. couldn't have had blue mail because no hook shot. I mean, technically you can get it, but it's really slow. You have to bomb the floor instead of hooking the block.
Got stuck.
Both of them getting stuck in that room in the same way. I wonder if they if there's lag in there that they're not used to.
Well, so Faker, I think, actually went for the dash and missed it, and so just hit the blocks twice while he was walking. Telethar got the dash, but he cut it off early because he was trying to stop on the pegs to get the iframes because of the pokey location, I think. But he cut his dash off a little too short, and so he got hit.
Yeah, that's why I was questioning the lag. Is the lag does often cause you to cut dashes too short. It's like one of the most common things that happens from the lag. You're doing things too early.
Yeah, I would expect he'd be pretty used to it, though.
Is the lag consistent in Rain, though?
I have no idea. Let's see. All right, so we've got Faker here with getting down towards the Ice Armos fight. I think a big thing with Ice Armos is if it goes on too long, it can actually really mess up the Ganon fight, which is maybe the scariest thing, especially on Green Meal. That is, to some extent, to me, like the bigger problem versus the time loss in that room by itself.
I'm surprised that Faker Jr. didn't get the chest while just standing there, because it's not... Does the game pause while you're getting the chest?
I think it briefly does. He was on 27 arrows, so...
I know it's only 3 arrows. I guess you can skip this chest still. But he definitely could have skipped it if he had gotten that chest. I think he would have saved time. I don't know, I think I would just go for the 9 arrow climb. You usually get arrows and mimics, right? Yeah.
I would have definitely picked up the magic there, though, because he got tapped by the Anti-Fairy. And he's a little... He's not, like, super low, but I would definitely rather have it than not.
Oh, I thought Faker Jr. was
Oh, I
going to
thought
go
it-
for Eddie strat, but just
Yeah.
sort of not really doing a strat in that room.
Yeah, he was coming in on the bow.
Telethar did the same thing. Telethar.
Wait.
The chest is right there.
He looked like he was trying to like chest turn, didn't get it, and then said, "You know what? If I'm not getting it with a chest turn, I'm never getting it."
You know what? I respect it. Sometimes you have to do things out of pride. Oh, Faker could have had that magic. Okay, so G5 arrow basically makes it so you don't need the magic. That's
Yeah.
G5 arrow and rando is a little bit monk-esque though, because usually you're using a menu buffer to read the Stalfos RNG. In rando vanilla preset, you're just praying that the Stalfos gives you the right RNG for it. Or maybe you pause your game if you see it's going wrong and then you defy a rod, but then you're pausing your game in rando, so.
I still just menu buffer there. I give it up. I love that strat too much. Ooh, okay.
Lottery infused to
Got
bridge.
Made it
I
across
heard
though.
there's
Didn't
no
get
pixel. Yeah, there's no pixel that's safe, but there are pixels that are safer. If you go a little bit to the right,
Right.
your chances of getting lotteried are just a little bit lower. But also, I think your chances of getting knocked off if you are lotteried is a little higher. So
Definitely.
that's just anecdotal. It's not like nobody has tested that. Maybe they have, and maybe I'm wrong, but
I think you're right though. It makes sense.
just feels like you're just closer to the pit in one of the directions. If you're smack in the middle, you get hit, you're probably fine. I figured Junior really making good use of this powder, making it worth it.
And then it is worth noting, so yes, the jingle glitch is a risk in vanilla preset because this does, and we were joking about it in chat earlier, but this actually uses a glitched ROM setting because technically NMG fails the key logic of competitive rule set.
That's actually not the reason. You can disable logic without enabling no logic ROM fixes. But we enable no logic ROM fixes because the same preset is also used for glitch speedruns, and we do need to have those fixes disabled. We do need to be able to death hole and the major glitches. We need to be able to splash and fake flipper fail because that's how you do out of bounds splashing in some of the glitches you do in the restricted major glitches rules. And rather than having two different presets, it's easier to just have one and have this behave like vanilla in the minor ways that it does.
Okay, we go. All right, so Faker, that was a 3 cycle. Four. All right, thank you, Humbug.
Faker Jr. is minus or plus 7.5 going into Ganon, so with good warps and good phase 4, this could be a PB. When I say warps, I mean it's always 0 warps, but you can get good like phase 4 warps that makes the fight a little faster.
I was really worried he was going to get bounced in again in there.
Yeah, I can actually see like the difference between Ganon warping up and down versus taking the diagonals. No, that does make a little difference. I don't know if it's enough for like 7 seconds, but in phase, if it causes Faker Jr. to get hits in phase 4 that he didn't get hits in for his PB. This could be PB. Blue Ganon probably not working in his favor though. That's an RNG.
Of it, I think.
That's not his fault. Phase 4 is going really well for Faker Jr. though. Basically,
GG's.
If it was going to PB, it would be in this gameplay. If it doesn't PB, it's because of the RNG. So GG to Faker Jr. who takes this race. And takes a PB and a gold Ganon. Nicely done.
Awesome. Really, really, really good job.
Yeah, other than the blue Ganon, which he couldn't have known about. Now, if he were to run this back, he would know about it. But he couldn't have known about it running it blind. Mm-hmm. That was, as far as I can tell, a perfect Ganon. Maybe one miss.
Yeah, he got the triple.
Yeah, that was really good.
4. Yeah.
Telethar is also having a really good phase 4. Oh, just barely doesn't make it in time for that spin.
All right, GG's to Telethar as well. Really good runs. I mean, and again, this is especially on like Telethar's side. This is not a speed run that like Telethar is really good at the game because he plays the game a lot, but doesn't do like NMG with any kind of frequency. So the fact that he's able to put up times this quick is super impressive. And for Faker Jr., just PBing in this kind of a setting is awesome. It's amazing. Really, really great job by both.
So Faker Jr. will not be joining for the interview, but we will be getting Telethar in shortly.
Yo, Telethar, welcome. GG's.
Yep, GG's. I mean, sort of. It felt good. Why do I not hear Malmo?
Oh, because I'm not talking. GG, Telethar.
You're just turning green, but not talking. Roger that. Okay.
Sorry, yeah, I had my push to talk down, but I was just not talking.
That's fair.
That's on me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was, I did not play well. I mean, some obvious... played alright outside of some very obvious major issues, but whatever.
Yeah, you just take the split separately, right? That's whatever. Like, everyone has those. So you just look at, when you're not dying, what are you doing? You're playing pretty well for some of the splits. And of course it's a race and you can't really expect to be at your peak the whole time.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's one of those things where it's a little bit okay, it's easy to say, well, how about not thinking about these things that didn't go great? But your current PB, which I probably would say is not necessarily the best you could possibly do, given that you haven't run this a ton, but it's about 2 minutes faster than that. But this run, you had a death to Moldorm and a death to Argus, right? So outside of that, there's a pretty good chance this was faster than that run.
Yeah, I would think that is more than 2 minutes. Those 2 deaths.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 3, maybe even more. I don't know. Probably not more.
Well, and that's the thing. So that's like it sucks to be like, again, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln helps the play, but like it was like a lot of what you did was really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good. I obviously don't enjoy being bad at making the major mistakes, but it's all whatever in the end of the day. don't be bad next time is basically all I get out of this.
Now you got plenty of chances too. We're only at the beginning of the NMG League, and you'll have some more opponents to race against. Then there's all of those, of course, any attempts that you do on your own, good chance to iron out those wrinkles, and maybe you'll get one where you're playing your best.
Yeah, I mean, all those I do on my own. This is my second.
Oh, it's really not that bad. I mean, if you're not running on your own, pulling off a time like this, even with the 2 deaths, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some learnings, but I haven't actually done a run really, except for the qualifier. So
after this, will it be back to rando for you, or do you plan on continuing to do some kind of speed running activity when the league is over?
Probably mostly rando. I don't know. I have a hard time with the mentality of doing the speed run, just because I feel like resetting whenever anything doesn't go right, and that's a horrible mentality. But it also is what my inclination is. So,
but the league is a good way to force you into the mentality of finishing runs.
Yeah.
Without the pressure of I need to get my best time. Where the number one priority is to just finish, even if you're behind, because you only get a finite number of races in league, and you want to make the most of it.
Yeah. No, I do. I agree that I feel a lot better about finishing a bad run against my opponent's current run as opposed to my best run ever, and also my best possible run, which is really what I'm trying to improve on. Or not my best possible, but best reasonable run. Whereas, so I enjoy the NMG vanilla run more when it's in a race format, I guess. That's nice.
Racing against your opponent's best ever run because Faker PB'd.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. But, it's kind of funny because sometimes it can be a little, there's only so much to say, like you said, right? Like in this case, there was the two deaths. Like, how do you feel? Do you like the swamp route?
I haven't done this route before. So, I mean,
really?
I did swamp first, but I didn't grab ether tablet. I did that after swamp before, so I decided to change it up because I don't know. I felt like doing things differently, just cause.
No time like round 1 of NMG League, right?
Yeah, I also decided inside of Escape, I think, that I was going to do the Saha bombs, and got the instructions from Mike on what that route entails.
It's like on the fly. Beat the game assisted.
But yeah, it's fun. That's all for me, though.
Dude, anything else?
No.
You have any other thoughts?
No, I'm good. I got no other thoughts.
Sorry, I was saying Malmo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you for the commentary today, PH, and thank you for racing Telethar and Faker Jr. That will be all for now.